Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Under the Super Scope, where we take an in-depth look at some of the most famous games of all time and work out exactly what makes them so good and whether they still hold up today. It doesn't matter if they're 5 or 35, all that matters is that they're fun. So let's rewind from 2018 with a new Smash on the horizon and go back past Smash for Wii U and 3DS, past Brawl, past Melee. Let's go back all the way to where it first began, back to that one simple idea. Who would win in a fight? Link or Mario? It's easy to forget that premise when Smash has been around for as long as it has, but that's exactly what the core of Smash is, taking Nintendo's most prominent all-stars and working out who the most powerful is. Capcom had similar mashup ideas with the likes of 1996's X-Men vs Street Fighter and Sega's 1996 Fighters Megamix, but none were quite as ambitious as this. Where Fighters Megamix largely took its characters from Virtua Fighter and Fighting Vipers, the characters from Smash don't originate from that genre, and so an entirely new playstyle was devised, the platform fighter. Platformers are arguably the most accessible genre out there. You run, you jump. It's what we've been doing in the real world since we've been able to stand on 2 legs. Many of our very first games likely involved this method, whether it was Super Mario Bros. Or Sonic or, I don't know, Ristar. Hopefully someone's first game was Ristar. So to take that daunting premise of a fighting game and make it around running and jumping suddenly alleviates that barrier of entry. Picking up Smash makes sense. Mario, Kirby, and Donkey Kong all move around like you'd expect from a 2D perspective, and even the more experimental characters adapt so well in this playstyle. There aren't health bars or complex moves, it was an entirely new take on a fighting game. So instead of pummeling your opponent until they lose consciousness, they almost get lighter with every punch in a sense. So the more you hit them, the further they'll fly, and eventually they'll go walloping out of the stratosphere. Masahiro Sakurai often refers to Smash as a party game opposed to the competitive focus the genre is known for. And while there is a competitive Smash scene, I think that party focus is the backbone of the entire series. There aren't complex button inputs to learn, or at least there aren't meant to be. Smash takes this intimidating genre and makes it something anyone can learn. Basically, there are 2 attack buttons, melees and specials. Pressing a different direction while using either of these performs a different move. Not only does this grant a nice variety of moves, but it also ensures that once you've learned one character, you've essentially learned them all. If you're coming from later installments though, you may be a little surprised to learn there's no side special in Smash 64. Up special still your recovery, and down special still does a different move, but neutral special and side special perform the exact same move. Weird, right? You also can't charge smash attacks or execute a mid-air dodge, so watch your landings. While these are series standards at this point, it was Melee that first introduced them. It never really made a whole lot of sense as to why side special performs the exact same move as neutral special, when literally every other direction executes a different move. That's one area that was always flawed in the original Smash. We've also gone from over a dozen characters in Smash Wii U having counters, to nothing but Fox's Reflector in Smash 64. While the core game is still largely the same, there's certainly a lot of elements that just haven't been introduced yet. Though competitive players may not like to learn that the item toggle is something you have to unlock from playing 100 versus matches. Yeah, that's quite a lot. These restrictions are the one key area where Smash 64 starts to show its age, and it's something so many players find jarring going back to. Of course, every Smash has a unique feel. Melee's the fastest, the most technical. Smash Wii U is slightly more floaty, but with a great party competitive balance. And Brawl has tripping. The original is perhaps the closest to Melee than any other. Now, it doesn't have as many exploitable glitches, but the pacing feels geared to the more experienced players. There are tons of crazy combos you can pull off, and while the competitive scene isn't massive, it does exist, and it's bigger than Brawl's. Impressively, while most N64 games struggle to run at 20 FPS, Smash 64 holds a pretty stable 60, up there with only a few others on the platform like F-Zero X. Of course, this comes with drawbacks, and the background elements are all mostly 2D, though I think there's some charm to be found with them. Sure, they're pretty blurry, but just look at the detail here in the Hyrule Castle stage. You can see the entire world of Ocarina of Time from this view. There's Kakariko Village, there's Death Mountain, there's Zora's River, and there's Lake Hylia, in the wrong place. Okay, so it's not 100%, but it's still a really cool recreation. Here with Peach's Castle, you can see the entire grounds from Mario 64. It may not be the best quality in the world, but it pushes a level of detail that the N64 just wouldn't be able to output natively at this performance. Smash is a celebration of Nintendo as much as it is a fighting game, and almost every element of the series is a reference to a franchise's source material. For instance, Mario's moveset is ripped mostly from Mario 64, with the 3 punches, little breakdancing kick, and he throws enemies the same way he throws Bowser. Link has the same spin attack as Ocarina of Time, same bomb design, same hookshot, and the down thrust from Zelda 2, though adult Link couldn't use the boomerang. The Ocarina of Time representation's a little sketchy here. In many ways, Smash would actually have the opposite effect on many of these licenses, where they themselves become inspired by their Smash appearance. Captain Falcon, for instance, never left his vehicle in either F-Zero or F-Zero X, yet they somehow gave him an entire moveset in Smash. This would then lead to the Falcon Punch becoming an actual element of the F-Zero franchise during 2003's F-Zero GP Legend anime. Perhaps the most surprising thing coming from recent installments is the roster. We're used to dozens and dozens of franchises, both first and third party, being represented. But from Smash 64, there are only 12 characters in total from 10 different franchises. You'll start off with Mario, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus, Yoshi, Kirby, Fox, and Pikachu, with Luigi, Captain Falcon, Ness, and Jigglypuff being hidden behind Classic Mode challenges. Starting with just these guys may seem like a pretty safe roster, but think back to how weird of an idea it is to have Mario punching Pikachu. And then the unlockable characters introduce what Andre elegantly referred to as the WTF characters. Maybe not Luigi, and maybe not Jigglypuff, as he was once groomed to be the face of the franchise, but Ness and Captain Falcon were by no means Nintendo icons. The Blue Falcon was probably more iconic than Captain Falcon, and when someone said Ness, the common response would be, no, it's pronounced NES. Smash Bros may be the spark that caused Earthbound to have such a large cult following, and the fact that Ness has been there ever since the original game is something pretty special, especially seeming as Mother 2 was the last game to ever be localized worldwide. Well, in the Americas at least. Europe never got it until Wii U, though he's not special enough to get a stage apparently. While the controls are the same for every character, that doesn't stop them all from feeling unique. Even Luigi, who's the closest thing to a clone character, has his floaty jumps from Super Mario Bros. 2. I'm a Link fanboy myself, though his recovery is a bit in Smash 64, and a lot of his moves have a slow wind-up. Yoshi's recovery doesn't even really give him any extra height like it does in later games. Fox's blaster even has the stagger effect that was given to Falco in Melee. Characters like Fox, Captain Falcon, and Pikachu are perhaps the best overall, but I find the roster is way more balanced than Melee. More importantly, everyone's a ton of fun to play as, though the AI does have a little trouble with Ness's recovery on Silphco. Playing later Smash games though, you can definitely tell who originated in Smash 64. Mario's moveset mostly makes sense here, but then fast forward to Smash for Wii U, and when was the last time that Mario threw a punch? Where do most of DK's moves come from? I mean, DK would go on to use his wind-up punch to punch the freaking moon, but again, that was something taken from Smash rather than Smash taken from the source material. There were certain leniencies the team took with the original game that you wouldn't necessarily see in a modern Smash, but who knows, maybe they'll even refresh the entire original roster in the Switch game. One thing I admire about this entry, more than any other, is the context behind all the fighting. If you read into the intro of the game and the outros of Classic Mode, then all these characters are just toys being played with by a hand. Probably the hand of a child. This even adds context to Master Hand. It's just a kid playing with its Nintendo toys. And I think that goes so well with the premise of Smash. In my opinion, making them trophies was a downgrade from this idea, and Master Hand feels like he's stuck around out of tradition, rather than really being a metaphor for anything. Speaking a bit of Classic Mode though, it's really the only thing you can do in Smash 64 other than versus fighting. Sure, you can train and practice break the targets, but there's really no other side mode unlike later games. And Classic is completely fixed to the same structure every time. You will always start off fighting Link on Hyrule Castle, you'll always battle against a swarm of Kirbys, and you'll always throw around an unresponsive Metal Mario. You'll recognise Target Smash from later games, but Board the Platforms is something similar that's yet to return. Each character has a set of obstacles, and you simply need to land on each distinctive platform as you make your way through the stage. Perhaps the premise is too similar to Target Smash, as you could simply replace these targets with platforms and have the exact same mode, but I like how it emphasises the platforming portion of this platform fighter. Many of these designs are pretty good too, even if the visual variety gets stale fast. Interestingly, there are stages in Classic Mode that aren't actually playable in Versus Mode, notably Master Hand stage, which is essentially Final Destination, and the Fighting Polygon stage, which is essentially Battlefield. Even Metal Mario has a unique stage. It kinda sucks not being able to fight on these perfectly good stages. The Nintendo 64 was something of a multiplayer haven, and right there with the facility, block fort, and a circle of Eevees just trying to get fruit, were the likes of Sector Z, Dreamland, and my personal favourite, the Mushroom Kingdom. The series may have grown a new pair of legs with Melee, but the original has such a unique feeling and makes it worth playing even in 2018. If you just want to see where it all began, or try your hand at an entirely new Smash, it's never too late to pick up that three-handed controller. Just make sure the people you're playing with know how to hold it. Not only do I think Smash 64 still holds up, but I think it's one of the most enjoyable games on the platform. So go grab some friends and 4 controllers and smash like it's 1999. Training mode even replaces all stage backgrounds with the giant Smash logo. Huh, that looks vaguely familiar. Probably nothing. Or is it? Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more episodes from Under the Super Scope and other things gaming as well. Catch you next time, bye.